Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to knit this slipover shawl. Let's get started. Before start, please check my description box for written pattern and other details. This is completely customized and adjustable, so you can knit any size you want. Mine is size small, and this is the yarn I was using, and I use only half of this ball. Let's start. Cast on for everybody. 5, just 5 cast on. And first of all, I would like to knit flat, which means back and forth, right side and wrong side. And once you knit big enough for your head and neck, you connect both ends. I'll show you later. Okay, so I made 5 casts, and this is preparation row, wrong side. YFSL1P, which is yarn front, slip 1 purl wise. Okay, so slip 1 with yarn front, purl wise, just like that. And yarn back, YB is yarn back. Then CYO, which is close yarn over, kind of wrap. And yarn at the back, knit 1. There you go. Then close yarn over again, so wrap around. Then place the marker. PM means place the marker. Knit 1. In between 2 markers has to be always 1 stitch there. And I place the marker again. Right after the second marker, close yarn over, wrapping around. Then knit 1. After that, close yarn over again, knit 1. So I increase 4 stitches on preparation row. And you will understand what I'm doing, okay, a little later. So let's start row number 1. This is actually quite easy. You just have to repeat row number 1 and row number 2. Anyway, row number 1, right side, is all knit. You just have to be very careful when you did the close yarn over in previous row. It's little, tricky, but just take your time. Okay, so I'm making knit stitch, and here comes close yarn over in previous row. There you go. Knit there, and as I told you before, between those 2 markers has to be always 1 stitch. So if you have 2 stitch in between those 2 markers, you did something wrong. All right, and there you go. Right after the second marker, there's the close yarn over stitch, and you just knit there. So I increase 4 stitch, right? So this is gotta be 9 stitch total, but it doesn't really matter. There you go. 2 more stitch. Then row number 2, wrong side, it's gonna be increasing row. And again, as I told you, row number 1, row number 2, you just have to repeat until big enough for your head and neck. And turn the work. Row number 2, wrong side. Yarn front, slip 1 purl wise. There we go. Make sure yarn front. Then slip 1 stitch purlwise. Then yarn back. I didn't want to use yarn over because I just want to make sure yarn has to be at the back. Then close yarn over, knit until the marker, until no more stitch before the first mid stitch marker. There you go, no more stitch. So close yarn over, wrap. Then slide the marker, knit one, slide second marker, and closed yarn over again. Then knit until last one stitch. Then you may close yarn over, knit one. So on the increasing row, you will increase 4 stitch again. Then back to row number 1. So as you can see, you must stop on row number 2 when whole stitches are multiple of 16 plus 1. This is a little bit tricky, but I am giving you the example number, so don't worry about it, please. After you knit for a little while, the shape becomes triangle like that. And I just want to tell you what I'm doing right now. As I told you, I increase 4 stitch on the increasing row, right? Which is both ends, one each, one that way and one the other way. Also around the mid stitch. So the triangle becomes bigger and bigger. Well, slowly though. Then ended up I'm going to connect both ends like that. And that opening is for the head and neck. And after you connect both ends, now you will be knitting in round. And no more increasing for the head and neck. So you have to make sure the head opening is big enough and small enough, because if it's too big, the shawl will slip off from your shoulder. Again, once you connect, you only increase around the mid stitch. Anyway, I knitted it until whole stitch hit 161, which is multiple of 16 plus 1. And with some bracket is total number of I repeated. This is depend on the person and yarn and needle. It's really up to you. And this time I'm going to knit smaller version because I've already knit 2 different one and it was much bigger size. There you go. I repeated 38 times in total and finished on row number 2, which is increasing row. So there are 4 close yarn over here and there at the very end for both and mid stitch area, right? But when I'm going to connect both ends, I will use all knit technique, so don't worry about it. In next row, I will connect both ends like that. Here is the one I knitted long time ago. It's different design. I used the thicker yarn as well, so it's quite bigger size. And I knit both ends like that. So it's gonna be like this. So if you use the thicker yarn, it's gonna be much bigger. So you have to adjust the number. Anyway, now I would like to connect both ends. And I have to use magic loop technique because I don't have the right size of the cable. I'm using longer cable as usual. And I'm still increasing little by little, so this is fine. So again, I am going to connect both ends with all knit. And there is close yarn over in previous row, so you still have to be careful. And I forgot to add a biggie marker, so you should know where to start, right? So again, just all knit around round to connect both ends. Now we are going to knit in round. There you go. I realized I didn't have the biggie marker, so I added. So I will knit one round. And this is after the increasing row. So around the mid stitch area, don't worry about it, just all knit. Very straightforward. And now I want to tell you one thing. Once you connect both ends, that opening, the size won't be changed. Okay, the same size. So this is the reason you have to be very careful when to stop. Again, around the both ends, I am not going to increase anymore. So head opening size won't be changed. Only mid stitch area I will increase. So it's gonna get bigger slowly, gradually. As you can see, my old shawl, there we go, slowly, gradually getting bigger because I still increase around the mid area. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise it's going to be really tight around the shoulder area, right? Please be aware of that. Now I want to talk about the stitches and design. As I told you, the whole stitch has to be multiple of 16 plus 1. I have 161. And this plus 1 stitch is mid stitch right there. Another word, half and the other half has to be multiple of 16. I have 161 minus 1 is 160 divided by 2 is 80, right? So 80 for left and right, which is multiple of 16. Then from now on, I'm going to increase every other rows until it hits 16 stitch increase. So you really have to read or watch my video first, and then you have to know what's really going on. All right, so let's get to the design. Diamond lace, row number 1. Repeat of knit 1, yarn front. YF means yarn front. I don't want to use yarn over because yarn has to be at the front. So yarn front, then knit 3. After knit 3, P3SO2, which means pass third stitch over 2. So 1, 2, 3. That third stitch, pass 2 stitch over. And I'm having problem here because I knit a little bit too tight there. So it was really hard to pick up the third stitch. So the key is after yarn front, you knit tiny bit loosely. Okay, that's the key. So I just pass the you know, 2 stitch there. Then again, width and bracket is repeat. So knit 1, yarn front, then knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Then the 3rd stitch, you gotta pass over 2 stitch front. And you have to keep doing this until you hit the mid stitch marker. There you go. So meet you right there. Here comes mid stitch. Last full stitch, so knit 1, yarn front, then knit 3. And after knit 3, pass 3rd stitch over 2. Then every odd number of the row you have to increase, and you have to use yarn over technique to increase. Yarn over just before the marker, then knit 1. Mid stitch is always only 1 stitch. Slide the marker, then yarn over. After yarn over, you have to repeat same thing. Knit 1, yarn front, knit 3, then pass 3rd stitch over 2. Again, increasing is every other row, which is odd number of the row. Row number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. And row number 2 is all knit, just all knit. And you have to be very careful with the yarn over stitch. There you go. And I add orange marker. And orange marker is increasing, marker. All right? So in between orange and mid stitch marker is increasing area. So it's going to be all knit. And after the orange marker and before the orange marker, you have to do the design. And you know what I mean later on. So after all knit row, and every even row are same, okay, all knit. And row number 3, all knit, except increasing part, which is the around the mid stitch area. Row number 3 is all knit, but the difference is you have to increase around mid stitch area. So here comes mid stitch area. There we go. So knit until orange marker. Slide the orange marker. This is the increase section. And you have to increase right before midsection and right after. So there's the 1 stitch there, and you have to knit. Then no more stitch before the marker, right? Now is the time you do yarn over. Then slide the marker, knit 1 stitch there, and slide another marker, then yarn over again. Knit 1 there, slide the orange marker, which is increasing marker. After the this increasing area, you start again, which is all knit this time, right? And row number 4 is just the all knit, no increasing. Here is row number 5. Let's talk about yarn over thing again. Row number 5, knit 3 to start. This is not repeating. After knit 3, repeat starts. Okay? yarn front, slip 1 purl, yarn front, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, then PSSO, pass slip stitch over, easy, then knit 6. You have to repeat with some bracket after knit 6. There you go. Yarn front, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, PSSO, knit 6. And you have to repeat with some bracket until last 5 stitch. Last 5 stitch before the orange marker. Okay, because after the orange marker is increasing, so you can't touch the design. Orange marker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the orange marker. Okay, that's the increasing part. So just forget about it. The design end till orange marker and start right after the orange marker. All right. So meet you around there. Here comes last 5 stitch, yarn front, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, PSSO, then knit 3. There we go. It's beautiful. Then this is odd number of the row, so increasing row. So knit until the mid marker. So knit 2, then no more stitch there, yarn over, slide the marker and knit 1 there, slide the marker, yarn over and knit until the second orange marker. Then right after you slide the orange marker, the design starts, which is knit 3 to start, then repeat off with some bracket until last 5 stitch before the begin marker this time. So you know what I'm saying, right? And it's really hard to write as a pattern, but you know what I mean. There we go. Okay, so now row number 7. Knit 2. Then repeat off, yarn front, slip 1 purl, knit 1, PSSO, and you have to do twice. So one more time, yarn front, slip 1 purl, knit 1 and PSSO, then knit 4. And you gotta do repeat until last 6 stitch before the orange marker. You remember that. And I meet you right there. This is not difficult design, quite easy. Right, so meet you at the increasing marker area. There we go. Last 6 stitch. Again, yarn front, slip 1 purl, knit 1, PSSO, one more time, yarn front, slip 1 purlwise and knit 1, PSSO, then knit 2. Then in my written pattern, there's a straight line, which is increasing marker. Then all knit until mid stitch marker, then yarn over. There we go. Slide the marker, knit 1, slide the marker, then again yarn over, knit until the increasing second marker. Again, in my written pattern, yarn over or knit and kind of slash, then same as the other side, which is starting with knit 2, then with some bracket, which is repeat until last 6 stitch before the begin marker. And row number 8 is all knit. And I think I'll show you another row, which is row 9. After 7, you're gonna do row number 8, all knit, and this is end of the all knit, number row 8. There you go. And after row 9, you actually look at my written pattern. It's easy to follow, okay? So the row number 9, knit 1 to start, then repeat starts. Yarn front, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, PSSO, total of 3 times, then knit 2. Very straightforward. Second time, PSSO right there, and third time, PSSO. There we go. Then knit 2. And you have to repeat until last 7 before the first orange marker. And this is increasing row, right? So there you go. Last 7 stitch before the orange marker, you do whatever it's left there, then knit until the mid stitch marker and yarn over, right? And then right after the second mid stitch marker, yarn over again and knit until the orange marker. Then diamond design starts. Right there you have to yarn over just before and after the mid stitch marker. Then the other half always after the orange marker. In between orange marker, those are increasing area, so the design won't start. Then after row 9, please look at my written instruction, and I meet you row number 32. Very straightforward, so you don't have to worry about it. There we go. The diamond design finish on row number 18, but you carry on. You just, read what I say until row number 32. And here is row number 32. I finished. There we go. Again, diamond design finish on row number 18, but you have to keep knitting until row number 32. Top part is just a regular triangle, and after you connect, diamond design starts, right? There you go. That's the row number 18. Then the solid rows, just all knit, then still, increasing every other rows. Now I finish row number 32. Then increasing area is getting bigger and bigger, of course, because I increase every other row. And when you count those 16 stitch for both sides. So total of 32 plus mid stitch. And probably most of the people just say, aha, right? You know why I had to keep knitting until row 32, because I had to wait those increase in stitch hits multiple of 16. And after this, you will remove orange marker out, then start all over, okay? And it's really hard to explain, and maybe you don't understand, but I'll show you and tell you what's going on, and you will realize what I was saying. Okay, I was gonna remove the orange marker, but I decided not to, because that way easier to understand for you. So anyway, this is not finished yet. I have to repeat row number 1 to row number 32 until desired length. So we will go back to row number 1 now and tell you what you have to do around that orange marker. Here comes row number 1. Again, I told you I am going to repeat row number 1 to row number 32 until your desired length. So row number 1 is repeat of knit 1, yarn front, knit 3, and pass 3, stitch over 2. And you have to keep doing until actually mid stitch marker, but I'll show you around the orange marker, which is the increasing marker. This is important. Just keep doing until around the orange marker. There we go. So let's see. Yarn front, knit 3, then P3SO2. Now remove the orange marker. Forget about the increasing. You reset, because after the orange marker until the mid stitch there's the 16 stitch, so you can still repeat. This is the reason why I had to knit until row 32. Anyway, just repeat until you hit mid stitch marker, and exactly same thing. Just start all over. And if you know what's going on and what I'm doing, you can actually change the design. You can make own design you want. But first of all, you have to learn how to make this, and you really have to understand what I'm doing. Anyway, so pass the third stitch over 2, and this is gonna be last repeat. Then this is row number 1, which means odd number of row, you have to increase 1 stitch, right? Before and right after the mid stitch marker. So now yarn over to increase. Okay, let's put the orange marker there. So now the increasing area starts right there. Then knit 1 stitch for the mid stitch. Now I increase 1 there and yarn over. There you go. Then start all over, right? Knit 1, yarn front, knit 3, and P3SO2. And I should have put the second orange marker right after the yarn over, but I forgot. And again, I knit a little bit too tight, so I'm having kind of trouble, but there we go. Take your time. There you go. Now I remember, okay, orange marker supposed to be right after the yarn over, right? Because you have to reset. Anyway, so right after the second orange marker, you have to start the diamond design. All right? And you just have to keep knitting and knitting and knitting until you hit the desired length. And obviously, you have to stop on row number 32. I repeated 3 times total. There we go. And again, the total stitch should be multiple of 16 plus 1. Now I am going to knit hem, kind of rib rows. Okay? Hem row number 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 4. After those 8 stitch, repeat off, knit 4, and purl 4. And again, still you have to do increasing. So you repeat knit 4 and purl 4 until the marker. Then now I am going to use close yarn over technique. So I meet you around the mid stitch marker area. You can forget about the orange marker now, because I'm not doing any diamond design anymore. There we go. Just keep doing hem design, kind of rib, but kind of big rib this time. There you go. Remove the orange marker and keep doing. And regular yarn over is okay, but I use the close yarn over technique to increase. And the increase in row is every other row, which is still an odd number of the row. And row number 2 is very easy. So there you go. Come on. Purl. Then right here, close yarn over. I put the orange marker for just in case. There you go. Close yarn over. Then knit 1 there. That's close yarn over and slide the marker again. Then the other half starts with the purl. So the yarn front, then close yarn over and yarn still front. Then repeat off, purl 4 and knit 4 this time until last 8 stitch. Then last 8 stitch should be purl 4, knit 2, and purl 2. And with some orange marker has to be all knit. There we go. So the design should be purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. All right. And here comes last 8 stitch, purl 4, knit 2, then purl 2. And row number 2 is very easy, no increasing, right? Just knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch. That's about it. And you repeat row number 1 and row number 2 until your desired length. I repeated total of 3 times. And you obviously has to stop on near row number 2, then cast off. There you go. Obviously I did purl over purl stitch and knit over knit stitch, cast off, and purl. I just made purl and yarn at the back, then cast off. And if it's next, the stitch is purl, yarn front, and you know, it's really up to you how to do the cast off. It was so much fun to knit. I really loved it. You can actually make longer sides, wider sides, or even smaller sides for your kids. So much fun and easy. If you use thicker yarn, it's gonna be so much faster to finish this shawl. Okay, so enjoy knitting.